But the loser and the butcher laughed. Everyone became even more afraid, and Xiang Weishan noted how hideous the butcher's laugh was. The butcher told about the second type of game, that you need to go to the kitchen and prepare one dish for him. If he remains satisfied, then the game will be completed, and if he doesn't like it, he will teach them how to cook properly. And the third type of game, go with him to the Valley of 100 Graves to help him collect the necessary ingredients. The butcher asked what game they would choose. Zhao Yi asked to wait as they needed to discuss everything. The boy returned to the team and asked which game to choose. There were no people willing to choose the game. Fan Pai said that maybe they should choose a second game, that they will be able to help each other and not kill other participants. Jiang Weishan laughed at the suggestion. Pointing at the butcher, Xiang Weishan said that there is no clear understanding of what is tasty and what is not. He asked if they could tell what the butcher preferred in food just by looking at him. Besides, if the butcher wants to kill them, he will certainly do it. Fan Pai pondered and asked which game they should choose. Xiang Weishan replied that it was necessary to choose the first game. Food delivery is a matter of speed. Anyone who slows down has only themselves to blame, not others. Bai Shui objected and said it was wrong, that such a game is only suitable for Xiang Weishanya because he has a good physical shape. In addition, he learned a lot in his guild, so this task will only be in his hands. Lei Han supported Bai Shui and added that Xiang Wei was the best Shan can ask for his henchmen. And Xiang Weishan continued with a smile for his uncle that they would disturb the others when the mission began. Bai Shui turned to Zhao Yi and said that they only trusted him, so he has to make a decision. Fong Pai agreed with Bai Shui and added that Brother Zhao should choose and they would listen to him. Xiao Yi looked at Xiang Weishanya. He looked away. The boy said he thought Brother Xiang was absolutely right. In such a cruel world where competition is inevitable, the only thing they can do is accept their fate. Xiang Weishan smiled and replied that it was true. Zhao Yi's team was perplexed. Bai Shui asked Brother Zhao if he was serious. Fan Pai thought, isn't there a way to solve problems in this game? How can a smart person like Zhao Yi just accept his fate? Xiang Weishan was very pleased with himself. He decided that everything was going exactly as he wanted. That once the butcher confirmed that the game had begun, Zhao Yi would finally realize his mistake. On the table, the butcher laid out disposable cardboard bowls in which the hot food was still steaming, lids for them, bags and chopsticks. He said that now all the dishes are ready, that they have delivered them and brought them back here as soon as possible. He also added that the winner will be the one who finishes the work first. Xiang Weishan and Lei Han were the first to rush to the table to cover the dishes and put everything in a bag. The others followed them. Tian Tian did not participate, but only observed from the side. Zhao Yi stood and looked at the food and items laid out in front of him. After Fong Pai finished packing his meal, he saw Zhao Yi just standing there. He was puzzled and asked why Brother Zhao was not doing anything. And then it dawned on Fan Pai that he had completely forgotten that the boy had only 2 survivors left palliation on one hand. That's why he didn't pack food. Fang Pai, saying that he would help Brother Zhao, rushed to pack his food as well. Bai Shui and Lei Han were surprised by Fang Pai's actions, and the woman thought that Fan Pai had not adapted to the rules of survival in this most terrible place. After all, while helping Zhao Yi, he is harming himself at the same time. Lei Han thought what a fool Fang Pai was. Uncle was happy that he had more and more chances to win. Xiang Weishan was the first to pack up the food and run out of the bench. Lei Han and Bai Shui ran after him. Seeing the others running from the bench, Fong Pai told the Zhao Yi to forgive him, but he would not be able to help him any further. Grabbing the bag with his food, and he also ran to complete the task. Zhao Yi looked at the bag of food that Fong Pai had packed for him and said that his bags were too poorly packed. Then the boy saw Tian Tian, who was standing still, and asked her why she didn't go with the others. The girl replied that she did not want to do the task. Zhao Yi grimaced and said that if she did not complete the task, she would die. Tian Tian looked at him and replied that he was lying, that Nini told her that she would be fine. Zhao Yi asked curiously, "Who is Nini?" And Tian Tian handed him a teddy bear and replied that it was her. The girl gently hugged the bear and said that Nini is her only friend, whom she was lucky to meet in this terrible and cruel world. The guy took a closer look at the teddy bear and saw how a system message with characteristics appeared. It stated that Nini has a medium level of danger and a note. The note noted that if he wants to harm the girl, he must be careful not to have her toy nearby, otherwise she will go mad. Weaknesses in Nina have not yet been discovered. Zhao Yi leaned over to the toy and stroked its head with his fingerless hand, noting what a cute little bear it was. He had never met such a cute bear. Tian Tian was pleased and thanked Zhao Yi's brother. She also said that the boy praised Nina so much that she was embarrassed. Zhao Yi then walked through the meat counter and sat down at an empty table. He called out to the butcher and, asking if he had any stewed beef, asked him to cut some for him. At the same time, he rudely and demandingly tapped on the table with one of his surviving fingers. The butcher returned and picked up his huge cleaver. He was somehow embarrassed and shouted to the boy to get out and that he was not a guest here. Zhao Yi, folding his arms over his chest, informed the butcher that the clown had told him that he had a daughter. The guy asked how long the butcher had been looking for her. The butcher was struck by lightning. His hands shook and he came closer to Zhao Yi with a cleaver and asked what was wrong with the boy. Zhao Yi calmly offered the butcher a deal regarding his daughter. The butcher tensed. He told the boy that he clearly understood that he could not go beyond his bench. And although the guy is desperate, each person has his own personal list of rules, and he is no exception. Zhao Yi, waving the two surviving fingers of his right hand, said that he could go where the butcher could not. And also, he has the opportunity to find his daughter. The guy added that, for example, in the city of Valley Heng, he might be able to find her traces. The butcher growled, "Doesn't the boy think that because of this, he will let him go?" Stretching on the chair, Zhao Yi replied that he would let go. After all, he played a game with a clown and thereby showed what he is capable of. The boy continued to say that one corpse more, one corpse less. Does it make a difference for a butcher like him, whose hands are already up to the elbows in blood? The butcher lowered his cleaver and placed it on the dividing table. He went to the back room in the pew. A few minutes later, the butcher returned with a plate of excellent first-class beef stew. He asked Zhao Yi to find his daughter, and then the boy would receive a decent reward. And Zhao Wei replied with a smile that no problem. A system message appeared, congratulating the boy on the discovery of the hidden mission, finding the butcher's daughter. The reward for him was not yet known. The butcher returned to his work. Zhao Yi thought to himself that he was indeed acting randomly, but the clown said that the butcher was different from him. He couldn't stand rules. That is, even if they will follow the rules and fulfill all the conditions of this game, it is not worth anything to the butcher just to kill them because of a bad mood. Instead of playing a silly game that doesn't even make sense, it's better to make a deal with the butcher. Then it remains only to wait quietly. The guy noted how good it was that many participants had already started to return. Tian Tian handed Zhao Yi a piece of beef. She said Nini informed her that it would be uncomfortable for him to eat through his hands. Therefore, the girl offered to feed him. The girl was beaming with happiness. She explained that Nina liked Zhao Yi and she liked her too. And this means that they can become good friends, or even... At this time, Xiang Weishan ordered his men not to let Fang Pai, Bai Shui, and Lei Han out of the station. The Trinity was furious. Uncle Lei Han said angrily as Xiang Wei, "How dare Shan do this to them?" And what was he up to? Xiang Wei, standing behind his men, Shan asked what else he should do. It is not easy for him to watch how they complete the task first, and then calmly wait for death. Polkadot added that they should blame Zhao Yi, not him. That it was Zhao Yi who chose the food delivery mission, not him, and wished the trio good luck. As soon as Lei Han wanted to throw his fists at the thugs, Bai Shui stopped him. She told the uncle to calm down, that those guys would break his legs if he tried to break through. Xiang Weishen informed his henchmen that he was leaving and leaving the place to them. The bandits surrounded the trio. One of them said that if Zhao Yi's company was honest, it would be easier for them to accept their future death. Bai Shui was furious and tried to reach Xiang Weishanya, that today he is betraying them, and tomorrow he may find himself in this place. One of Shang Wei's henchmen, Shanya, told the woman to stop carrying delusions, that they all already know how terrible it is to be betrayed by someone, and added that they would not miss them anyway. Bai Shui could not calm down. She looked at the bag of food and shouted that she would fight with them to the last and rushed at the bandits. Fan Pai tried to stop her, but did not have time. One of the thugs grabbed the woman's hand, the other by her hair. They asked her if she still wanted to run away. Bai Shui was in tears from the pain. She was only able to say that the boy was a scumbag and for him to let go of her hair. Bandyuk, who was holding Bai Shui by the hair, shouted, "How dare she talk to him like that?" And he hit her in the stomach with his foot. The woman flew to the side and dropped her bag of food from her hands. New Moon shouted for the others to beat Bai Shui as well until she realized who she was dealing with. A group of boys pounced on the girl who was lying on the floor and kicked her. Watching the beating, Lei Han was shaking like a leaf, and Fan Pai got angry and shouted for them to stop immediately, that they might kill her. Trembling with anger, Fan Pai warned the bandits that if they killed her, they would end up in the killing fields. And what is there? Their anger will quickly evaporate, only because they will all be killed there quickly. The bandits dispersed, noting that this fight almost sent their brothers to the terrible killing fields. Fan Pai ran to Bai Shui, who was lying on the ground begging for help. Fan Pai asked how she was and helped her up. Bai Shui thanked him, while Bai Shui was taking her breath away. Lei Han, letting go of his bag of food, said that it was over and that they would all die here. Uncle pointed out that Shang Wei Shan was right. It was all Zhao Yi's fault. If he had insisted on the second or third games, maybe they wouldn't have been so close to death. Fan Pai, hearing this, asked what kind of delusion he was having. Lei Han shouted, did he disagree with something? Would they end up in this situation if they didn't listen to Zhao Yi, who relies on his fate in everything? What if their leader had not invited this Zhang Wei to the Team Shanya? Then he wouldn't run away now like the last devil. Fang Pai said that it would be better for Lei Han to think about what to do instead of trembling. That Shang Wei betrayed him Shan, but the uncle prefers to blame everything on Zhao Yi. Fang Pai asked if Lei Han had forgotten who took him to the last dungeon to get the reward. Lei Han grabbed Fang Pai's breasts, looked him angrily in the eyes, and told him to repeat it again. Fan Pai was silent and thought to himself that this guy is very afraid of death and going crazy, so it is better not to contact him. After a few minutes, Lei Han let Fang Pai go and asked why he kept quiet. Doesn't he agree with what the man just said? Fan Pai was silent. Lei Han began to take out a large pointed bone from his inventory, saying that it was now clear that he just needed to kill Zhao Yi. Uncle's eyes went crazy. He said that once he killed Zhao Yi, then Xiang Wei Shan will let him out of here in an instant. That everything is very simple. Starting to dance with Lei Han, he said that after killing him, he would run back to the guild in the guise of a winner. After all, no matter how good the butcher is, he definitely won't be able to finish him off there. Uncle shouted that everything was right, that everything was simple, and that he needed to do everything that way. Shouting for Zhao Yi to get out, Lei Han began to climb the stairs to the butcher's bench. Zhao Yi and Tian Tian heard screams. Returning to the exit from the bench, they saw Uncle Lei Han approaching them with crazy eyes and a large pointed bone in his hands. The boy, with a relaxed face, pointed his fingers at the beef dish and offered it to his uncle. Lei Han became even more angry and pointed his weapon at Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi was smiling, and he thought to himself that his uncle was a very bad actor. From the first glance, it was immediately clear what was on his mind. Then, the boy said that he and the butcher agreed that he could take several men with him. Lei Han was stunned by such news. His face changed, became softer, and the uncle asked if the boy was telling the truth. Zhao Yi replied that indeed. Otherwise, if only he could sit here and just enjoy the food. And then, the boy said that his uncle had just asked him out. He asked if something happened. Lei Han quickly hid the pointed bone behind his back and began to say uncertainly that he just wanted to ask if the boy had already figured out how to complete the task for them. Zhu Yi smiled slyly and said that was the matter. and then remarked that he had already thought that he wanted to kill him to please Xiang Wei Shanyu. The uncle was moved. A smile appeared on his face, and he said very flatteringly that how could a boy think that, because he was his best friend. He would never do something so disgusting in his life. Uncle added that he believed in Brother Zhao, when suddenly Fang Pai came to the bench carrying the wounded Bai Shui and hurried to warn Zhao Yi that Lei Han had escaped and was going to... Zhao Yi did not let him finish. He greeted Fang Pai and Bai Shui with a wave of his fingerless hand and offered them some beef. Fan Pai was a bit stunned and then refused the treat. He said he was very glad the boy was okay. He just wanted to convey something to him, and then Fan Pai stopped. He suddenly realized that Zhao Yi was just sitting there eating beef. He turned and looked at Leia Hanya. Then Fang Pai sat down on the bench with Bai Shui. He turned to Zhao Yi and asked if Brother Zhao had found a way for them to finish the butcher game ahead of time. The guy shook his head and answered that no, he didn't find it. Fan Pai and Bai Shui despaired and despaired. Fan Pai asked the boy, "What is he, just sitting and waiting for his death?" Zhao Yi told him not to worry and pushed the dish towards him and told him to just eat. Fan Pai thought to himself that it seems the boy hasn't given up yet. Fan Pai took a piece of beef and ate it with great pleasure. He thought that first he must die, and only then he would become a ghost. Half an hour passed. As the team along with Zhao Yi heard someone running to the bench and shouting that he had won, that everyone would die and he would live. Bai Shi was worried and Fan Pai said that it was over, that it was Xiang Wei Shan returned. All stuffed, dirty, with torn clothes and no arm, Xiang Wei Shan ran to the second floor where Zhao Yi was. He asked where their number one rookie was and would Zhao Yi fight him now. Xiang Wei Shan shouted, "Will the boy have enough strength?" That he turned the whole plan against him and that he tricked him and called Zhao Yi a dumb pig. San Wei Shan also added that Zhao Yi was no longer his brother, that he could forget about their friendship. The boy sat with an indifferent face and calmly replied to Xiang Wei Shan that it was fine, he would forget. Xiang Wei Shan moved closer to Zhao Yi. He asked how Zhao Yi could pretend to be calm when his life was hanging in the balance of death. That, in any case, he won't be able to do it forever. Slamming his hand on the table, Xiang Wei Shan called the butcher. He said that he had already completed his task, which meant that he had completed this damn task. And in general, he delivered the food first. With greed in his eyes, the boy began to demand his reward from the butcher. The butcher took the huge hook in his hands and slowly turned to Xiang Wei Shan. Told him to come over. Xiang Wei's henchmen, Shanya, watched their leader standing in the doorway of the bench. They had a premonition that now their brother would fulfill the assignment. And this meant that something might happen to them. That they will finally be able to eat and drink normally. Bai Shui lost her spirit. She said that it was over and that they would all die. Xiang Wei, standing in front of the butcher, Shan shouted and demanded that he tell everyone that he was now the best rookie. That he wants everyone to know that he is better than others. What a whore! Liu Rui Qing, after that, would immediately pounce on him. And if in the future she wants to sleep with him, then he just won't let her. That first, she will need to win his trust. There was a loud bang. From the mouth of Xiang Wei, Shanya was bleeding. It was the butcher who pierced the boy's stomach with his hook. The ghost's eyes were burning, and there was a creepy smile on its face. Xiang Wei Shan could only utter the word, no. About himself, the boy asked why the butcher killed him, because he was the first one to complete his task. They were supposed to die? Zhao Yi's team. The boy thought that surely Zhao Yi had somehow managed to trick the butcher. Turning his head, Xiang Wei Shan saw Zhao Yi calmly eating. Then Xiang Wei Shan stretched out his hand towards Fang Pai and Bai Shui and began to plead softly for them to save him. Zhao Yi got up from his seat and walked over to the boy. Looking him up and down, Zhao Yi asked with a smile, "Why is it all of a sudden he has to help him?" Xiang Wei Shan began to say that he was blind and begged to be spared. At the moment when the butcher carried Xiang Wei over his head, Shania's huge cleaver, Zhao Yi, with a smile on his face, held out his middle finger hand to the boy and told him to grab. A terrible scream was heard. At such a scene, Fang Pai narrowed his eyes, Bai Shui looked away, Lei Han's jaw dropped, and Tian Tian smiled with satisfaction. Xiang Weishan, with a huge wound all over his body, mumbled one thing. Damn, damn, damn. The butcher tugged on the chain, the end of which was chained to the hook, and Xiang Wei's body, Shanya, flew to the other severed limbs that were also hanging on hooks at the entrance to the bench. Xiang Wei's henchmen, Shanya, were shocked and horrified. They did not understand what had happened. They wondered if it was Xiang Weishan did not complete the task. So why was he killed then? The trio from Zhao Yi's team thought that even Xiang Weishan, who completed his task, was killed. Then who's next? Would it be Zhao Yi, the person standing closest to him? After that, the butcher calmly turned around and went to the utility room. A few minutes later, he returned and approached Zhao Yi. He handed the boy a bowl with a red bubbling liquid inside. He said it was his reward. The boy took the bowl and thanked the butcher. A system message appeared in which it was noted that this was a soup that had been carefully prepared by a butcher. The effect of the soup? It is to live a part of your life faster in time, gain great power, stage a riot that will affect all his relatives. The riot will continue for 5 minutes. Within 12 hours after the riot ends, he will completely lose his combat power. Placing the award in his inventory, Zhao Yi noted that this soup was good even though it had side effects. And this effect is too bad, and in some cases can lead to an irreparable and terrible end. Many system messages appeared. They welcomed the player Zhao Yi with the opening of a new location for his guild, the Butcher's Bench. That this location is neutral, players can buy meat here, but there is no protection in this area. In any case, you should not anger the butcher, otherwise you may regret it. The quest, Management of the Great World, has been completed. Player Zhao Yi receives 3 talent points for participating, and the players Fan Pai, Bai Shui, Lei Han, and Tian Tian receives 1 talent point each. The main mission has been updated to Unlock Image, so the system will ask you to enter the menu to confirm it yourself. Someone in the guild was upset that Zhao Yi had won this world task. The man told his friends that this meant that a person with a lower level than him would not be able to complete the Great World task until someone finishes the guy off. The man's friends warned him not to say such things because it is dangerous, and the man continued that if they did not kill him, then they would only have to wait for the boy to complete the next big task. The Great World mission completely unlocked the NPC branch, which means that they have a chance to deal with the guy. Standing on the balcony, Liu Zhouqing and the president of the Scavenger Guild heard this conversation between the men. The woman noted that all newcomers are very greedy, that they are ready to do anything to grab more pieces and run away. Meanwhile, at the butcher shop, Zhao Yi told the butcher that he would try to find his daughter as soon as possible. The guy added that he would need to take a few more fellow guild members with him. The butcher replied that the boy could marry anyone as long as he found his daughter. Fan Pai was delighted and asked if they could really help too. Bai Shui couldn't believe that not only did they survive, but they also got talent points just like that. Lei Han sat down in joy and thought, holding his head, that it was great that he was able to survive. Zhao Yi, seeing how happy Lei Han was, loudly told the butcher that he did not need absolutely everyone. The boy said that there was one thing he could not do himself, but the butcher could do it for him. In any case, he is familiar with it firsthand. And then Fang Pai, Bai Shui and Lei Han were shocked. They understood that it turns out that the one who stays here will have a bad fate. The butcher, taking a cleaver in his hands, asked Zhao Yi who he needed to get rid of. The boy pronounced the name clearly, Lei Han. Lei Han was horrified and began to scream frantically that the boy could not kill him, that he had done him no harm. And in general, they are all in the same boat. Zhao Wei explained that he never minded sharing with others, but there were 2 things he hated. First, he hates people who steal from him, and secondly, he hates people who tempt him with his prey. The guy clarified that there are still those who want to eat him. If he can't kill his uncle, the butcher will. Lei Han stood and shook like a leaf in front of the butcher. Zhao Yi remarked that he thought that the uncle would guess everything himself and would not do such a thing, But as it turns out, he is quite stupid. The man prayed to the butcher. He asked him not to kill him. But the butcher was deaf to his requests. He brought his cleaver over Lei Han's head, and the next moment, blood spilled out again. Zhao Yi only sarcastically said that he felt sorry for such a kind person. Xiang Wei's henchmen Shanya, who were still standing in the doorway, were quite frightened when Liu Hanya's head rolled to their feet. One of them looked at Zhao Yi. The guy had such an expression on his face, as if he would solve them all now and not blink an eye. The bandits rushed into the air. Zhao Yi asked his team what they were going to do next. That the guild's mission is complete? Will they return to headquarters? Fan Pai and Bai Shui were so confused that they couldn't answer. The boy put his hand on Fan Pai's shoulder and told him not to worry. That he did not even think of ordering the butcher to kill them. Moreover, he is not a ruthless person, but a very kind and soft-hearted young man, and, to be completely honest, violence makes him somehow uncomfortable. Bai Shui and Fang Pai felt chills after these words. The woman said that if she had not just seen with her own eyes how he calmly endured the murder of 2 people, then his handsome face would have really made her believe that he was a soft-hearted type. Fan Pai said that anyway, thanks to the boy, he got the talent score. And he expresses his gratitude to him for this. And he also wanted to remind him that Bai Shui interrupted him and said that Xiang Wei Shan was one of the deputy heads of their guild. Fang Pai added that his death would be known soon, and then Brother Zhao would be in big trouble. Zhao Yi only smiled and said that Xiang Wei Shan doesn't look like an important bump. People like him cannot win someone's trust by their own strength. Maybe he is an intermediary. Tian Tian asked what her brother was going to do. The boy patted the girl on the head and told her not to worry, that everything would be fine. Returning to his room in the guild with 2 surviving fingers, Zhao Yi was actively typing something on his laptop. He entered a query with the name San Bobo. The system issued information that the player San Bobo has become a new icon. She said that her name and story are similar to one legendary girl from the big NPC world. Zhao Yi was in a trance. He thought that these children were either NPCs of the same name from other places or players who had nothing to do with the butcher's daughter. He needs to think everything through. Since the search for the butcher's daughter was a secret quest from the NPC world, it is thought to be a well-thought-out plan. This means that the butcher's daughter could not somehow have died in the sewer. The boy thought that he should turn back. Even if she died in the ditch, she would definitely turn into a terrifying ghost and cause a great commotion. Zhao Yi opened his inventory and took out a recorder. Turning it on, the boy began to listen to a recording on which there were 2 voices, a girl and a man. Dad asked Bobo's daughter if the train had already arrived in Guxuan. The girl could not answer clearly, but only complained that she was cold and that she did not want to go to Guxuan. The father asked the girl to explain to him what was happening. Bobo said that she was cold and asked her father to take her home. Her father agreed to take her and asked her to tell him where she was. Communication with the girl was lost. Her father kept trying to call her. He was desperate. After turning off the recorder, Zhao Yi began to think about the first thing. Bobo was travelling by train to the city of Guxuan. Secondly, the butcher was not with his daughter at that fateful moment. Thirdly, something may have happened to the train itself. The boy opened the world map and began to carefully examine it. He thought about the fact that access to those locations was not yet available. Therefore, it seems that the task of the butcher will have to be temporarily postponed. He thought that the global reset of dungeons was still a few days away, that he needs to start by looking at his recently unlocked missions. The system issued mission tips to Zhao Wei. For example, the World Mission, Free the Dungeon from the Curse. Recommended level 3-6. Recommended number of participants 6. Quest reward 2 talent points, only for mission participants. In the introduction, he arrives at an abandoned train station. After a long search, he finds an old train, 6 cars long. He was so happy with his luck that he wandered into the depths of the train. And when he wanted to go further, he accidentally found some strange figures. Zhao Yi pointed out that he was currently only at the 3rd level. Will he be able to complete this mission? The system issued an explanation that until he lost all his life force, he needed to return to the guild to respawn. The player can either die immediately or escape and miss the mission. There are large quests in the form of dungeons. As soon as he enters the game, he will not be able to escape. It will be necessary to either complete the task or die. Zhao Yi closed the game menu. He stretched out on the bed, stretched and thought that the main thing was not to worry. Now he will consider the situation. Suddenly, the boy noticed that the bandages on his fingers were loosened and the severed fingers began to grow. The hands have completely recovered. Zhao Yi noted that now he would at least not be ashamed in front of others. On the door of Zhao Yi's room again. Opening the door, the boy saw a group of strong boys with blonde bangs on their heads. The biggest man in the gang told Zhao Yi that their leader wanted to see him. Zhao Yi thought for a moment and then told the man that although he understood that saying something like that would make him seem a little strange to them, however, thick nose hair does not fit the image of a cool macho at all. The guy said that he was even ashamed of the man's nostrils, that it looked disgusting, and together with the ring, it was even more disgusting. The boys, with whom the stocky blonde came, turned pale and cried out in one voice that this boy was going to die. The man with the lush hair in his nostrils got angry. He shouted, "How dare the boy insult him?" He believes that the guy has absolutely no inhibitions. And the man swung his fist at Zhao Yi. The man's blow landed on the system shield that prevented anyone from entering Zhao Yi's room until he himself allowed entry. This barrier was translucent. The man from the gang, shaking with anger, shouted for the boy to leave. Zhao Yi smiled and noted that such a sight is rare. Suddenly, an idea occurred to him. The guy got a durian. Placing the durian on the floor right in front of the door, Zhao Yi said that Sister Liu had obtained this hardy fruit for him. She couldn't find any tool to open it. From outside the door, Zhao Yi turned to the boys and said that if they still had nothing to do, maybe they would help him split this durian. A stocky man with hair in his nostrils said that this guy didn't seem to understand who he was dealing with. He asked Zhao Yi to open the door, and he would explain everything to him in detail. Zhao Yi shook his head and said that he actually invited the man to the middle of the room with a gesture. The man tensed when suddenly the boy shouted for him to catch with his forehead, launched a durian directly at his head. Unable to stay on his feet, the man fell headfirst onto the durian, what caused the fruit to split. The boys in his gang were horrified and shocked by such a scene. Zhao Yi walked over to the man lying on the ground and said that he had a strong forehead, that he probably practiced the iron head technique in Taekwondo. After regaining his composure, the man quickly rose to his feet and swung his fist at Zhao Yi again, shouting that he would now start practicing it on the boy. As soon as the man's fist came in front of Zhao Yi's face, the boy told the system to disable the location sharing permission. Bandyuk found himself inside the electronic grid, and then he was electrocuted and thrown out of the room into the corridor. Picking up the split durian from the ground, Zhao Yi thanked the man for his help and asked him to shave the devil's nose anyway. Forehead was full of rage. Fire was burning in his eyes. The man's companions helped him up. As the door to the room began to close, the man shouted after Zhao Yi that he had better hide there for the rest of his life, or he would find him and kill him. Even when the door to the boy's room closed, the man was still furious. He remembered that this newcomer's name was Zhao Yi. And how dare this boy treat him like that? The man ordered his boys to follow this him 24 hours a day. He was sure that sooner or later, the boy would come out after all. In the evening, Zhao Yi went for a walk after dinner and was caught by a gang of blonde men with forelocks who cornered him in room 511 of his guild. At the table sat a man with the same long, blonde and curled bangs on his head. Pouring himself some tea, he asked the boy if it was really Wei Did Shan play the butcher game with him. Zhao Yi, who was surrounded by a gang of blonde men with bangs, looked at their leader and clearly replied that it was true. After putting down the kettle, the guild president looked up at the boy and asked who killed Xiangwei Shania. Zhao Yi reported that he had done it. Then the man asked why he did it. The boy thought about it and answered that the man caught him by surprise, so he did not know what to answer him. Zhao Yi then gave a predatory smile and said, "Maybe he did it because it's fun." The boys standing around Zhao Yi were stunned. They thought that the boy must have lost his mind, that those who kill for a living aren't as scary as those who kill for fun. A person like Zhao Yi can joke with you one moment and shoot you in the head the next. Taking a cup of hot tea in his hands, the man asked Zhao Yi if the boy knew who he was. Zhao Yi said he would try to guess. The boy asked if Big Brother Xiang Wei was a man Shania. The man replied that it was not bad. And since the boy has already heard something about him, he must understand what kind of person he is and what he can do. Zhao Yi was quick to point out that he hadn't heard anything about him at all. And in general, the boy doubts that the man was his father's own child. If not for Lao Wang's sudden intervention, his father really would not have given him such a name. Postal slave. The henchmen of the guild president were embarrassed. They knew that their brother Bang hated people who made fun of his name. This guy must be looking for death. They thought that Bang would brutally kill the boy. The cup of tea that the man was holding cracked. He glared at Zhao Yi and asked what Zhao Yi must think is the funniest. The guy smiled back and said that it's okay, that he understands that he's not up to the humorist. There was silence in the room. After a few seconds, Zhao Yi walked around the room saying that after such conversations, he wanted something to drink and plopped down on the sofa next to the president. Ex-boy calmly took the teapot and poured himself some tea. Bang looked at him and thought that after so many years in this world, it was the first time he had seen such a crazy newbie. Suddenly, a stocky man with luxuriant hair from his nostrils pulled out a gun and pointed it at Zhao Yi. He turned to Brother Bang and said that the boy was too proud. That Brother Bang should just say a word and he will kill the boy in the same moment. The other guys from the gang supported this determination of their brother. They said that even though the player would not die in the guild residence, the bullet hits to the body would still be very painful. They added that they should just torture the boy to teach him a lesson. Zhao Yi looked sadly at the cup and said that he understood that the man could kill him, but he himself could never finish him off. The boy sighed and added that it was because the man had such a good older brother. But he didn't have one. Beng looked at Zhao Yi and asked, now that he knew the whole truth about that man, wouldn't he want to kill him? The boy put the cup on the table and asked Beng if he knew what he was thinking about. Beng told Zhao Yi that he wanted to know the mindset of those like him who are obsessed and crazy, and that very soon he will succeed. Zhao Yi sharply pointed two pistol-shaped fingers at Beng and said that the best way to find out what's going on in a person's head is to blow their skulls open with a shotgun. Bang laughed and said sarcastically that he saw that the guy was rich. Taking out a cigarette, the man said that Zhao Yi was so poor that he would never be able to save up even for a double barrel for... The man was about to say something else as soon as his head exploded into small pieces. Zhao Yi was holding a double-barreled shotgun in his hands, and the smoke was coming out of it. The boy also sarcastically said that the man did not guess what he had collected by putting off his lunches. Bang's gang was stunned. They looked at the boy with bulging eyes and could not believe that he had actually shot. The man with the lush hair in his nostrils thought that within the walls of the guild, even if a player burned to ashes, he could still be resurrected. But it didn't matter. What mattered now was that this rookie was a third level. The man couldn't believe that the boy had picked up a weapon and destroyed a player who was much higher than him in level. Zhao Yi turned his gaze to the thugs and asked if there was anything bothering them. The guy explained that if he had fired recklessly, their leader could have easily dodged. So for this, the guy used words and acting to distract him. Then, with crazy eyes, Zhao Yi added that it was all for the man to learn what it was like to be shot. The man with the bushy hair under his nose began to tremble. He pointed a gun at the guy and shot him, saying that he was a psycho. Zhao Yi's head also shattered into pieces. He only had time to think that he had been killed again and how long it had been since he had felt this feeling. It is not known where in the place that was covered with darkness there was a house with many floors. He was wrapped in chains. Inside this house, various monsters and monstrosities were tied to the pillars, which were arranged in a circle. They all growled, roared, cried, and squealed. Suddenly, a blue light appeared and turned into Zhao Yi. The monsters chained to the pillars began to grunt joyfully and squealed something to the effect that Ta appeared. That Ta is here again. The monsters roared that it was Ta who captured them and locked them here separately from the world of the living, from all those mentally ill. The boy stood in the middle of the hall, around which monsters were chained to the pillars, and above him hovered a spirit of an inexplicable form. In the eyes of the monsters, Zhao Yi had no form. For them, he was an unknown secret, an incomprehensible true meaning, which will become the master of this, unexplored by man, edge of life. He is angry, jealous, paranoid, bullies others and thirsts for blood. He can confidently name all the monsters that were locked in this unprecedented world. As Zhao Yi passed by, these incredibly terrifying monsters buried their heads in the ground and pretended to be dead. The guy walked around the building with the monsters, stood on a beam of light and told him to quickly resurrect. The next moment, the boy came to his senses. He was sitting tied to a large wooden chair. The resurrected Bang was already standing in the room across from him. The man was furious. He thought about being shot in the head by some level 3 rookie. And what should he do now to maintain his status? Bang decided that he should make the boy feel terrible pain. He wanted that puppy to beg him for pity. The man pulled out the remote control and asked the boy if he knew what it was. Zhao Yi laughed and replied that it was an electric chair. The boy chuckled and explained that to an ordinary person it should be terrifying, but to him it was like a mosquito bite. Hearing this, Bang became even more angry at the boy's arrogance. He pressed the remote control and the electric chair was activated. The hair on Zhao Yi's head stood on end. 1,000 volts passed through the boy's entire body. When the electric chair was turned off, the boy's body turned black, smoke came from him, and he smelled like something fried. Ex-guys from the gang who watched this picture were horrified. Bang smiled and said that he was interested to know what the boy would say after such a discharge, with a force of 2,700 volts of current. Zhao Yi's body recovered and the boy resurrected with a joyful smile. Bang asked the boy how he was. Zhao Yi replied that it was cool. The guy noted that a strong electric shock can cause terrible pain in just a few seconds, but you can get used to it and even survive. Zhao Yi said that he actually liked it a lot and suggested that the man do it again. Bang was puzzled. He did not understand what this boy was talking about. The man thought that the guy might be a masochist. Then, Bang sat down on the chair opposite Zhao Yi and, holding the electric remote, said that the boy must be in pain. So, why is he pretending? The man told the boy not to hold back and scream in pain. Zhao Yi only asked if the man would give him the remote control for this contraption. Bang did not understand what this meant. He said he thought the guy was just pretending to be cool and now he's backstabbing. Zhao Yi said that was not the point. That he had experience with such things, and if the man did not want to press the buttons with his own hands, then the boy would do it himself. And asked if they agreed? Bang and the man with hairy nostrils were surprised and did not understand what the boy was talking about. Zhao Yi gave a predatory smile and said that, actually, playing with the electric chair is really very boring. He believes that they are aware of other tortures. Then the boy got confused and gave an example. Boiled frogs in boiling water, stewed red meat of a copper bull, fried quail testicles. And asked the men, do they know what is most amazing about all this? The men shook their heads. And Zhao Yi began to say that one of the most amazing things is... And at that moment, the men's skin got goosebumps. Bang yelled for the boy not to move. Zhao Yi smiled and told him not to worry, that he was just talking to him. And he continued to tell that the most amazing thing is the method of killing, which a madman told him about. Live skinning. Zhao Yi began to describe the process. That first you need to prepare a container with mercury, then make a hole in his head, and after waiting a little, you need to pour all the mercury completely on the bare scalp. Due to its special properties, the mercury will continue to separate his skin from his muscle tissue, thus traveling down his body. Well, after removing the skin, it must be quickly hung to dry on a rope. Zhao Yi shamefacedly continued to say that he would be unconscious all this time and wouldn't even be able to shout anything to them. That as soon as he imagines what they will do to his skin, a shiver goes up his neck. Bang and the man with the hairy nostrils stared at Zhao Yi dazedly. They were in a trance. Bang swallowed. Other gangsters began to wonder if this guy was really a rookie, that they had never heard anything so vile. Bang began to get angry. He understood that Zhao Yi could not be killed in their guild's safe zone because he was one of the residents. So the only thing he can do is torture the boy until he gets fed up. However, even these methods did not work on Zhao Yi now. The man lit a cigar and thought that this guy was most likely not a masochist, but a psycho with perverted thoughts. There was a knock at the door. Bang ordered one of his henchmen to go and check who was there. The boy who opened the door simply exploded with delight and immediately turned red like a cancer. Standing at the door was the beautiful and luxurious Liu Zhouqing. She asked the boy not to tell anyone about what he saw today. When Liu Zhouqing walked into the room, the man with the luxuriant hair under his nose was startled. Ben lost his temper and asked disgruntled who let her in. Liu Zhouqing said that she would borrow Zhao Yi from them, and after asking if they would mind, beckoned the boy towards her with her finger. The Zhao Yi was not confused. With a relaxed expression on his face, he began to jump with the shooter across the room to Miss Liu. Bang and his accomplice were simply shocked by such a scene. Their eyes popped out. As the boy moved closer, Miss Liu pointed to the handcuffs. In the next moment, Zhao Yi easily freed his arms and legs by himself. Bang was enraged at how easily Zhao Yi could get away from them and Liu Zhouqing's intervention. Miss Liu came closer to Bang, looked at him and asked with surprise, "Who is he?" After all, she couldn't think of anyone like that who lived on the 7th floor of her guild. Someone from Beng's people began to explain that only the players of their guild can live on the 7th floor, and their brother Beng has not yet reached this level. And then the boy was interrupted by hitting him on the head and telling him to shut up. Bang was furious at this humiliation. He thought about the fact that he needs to keep himself in his hands because she is the best player in their guild. He was torn from the middle by anger and frenzy. Liu Zhouqing glanced at Beng and said that it didn't matter who he was. She will only remind him that it is impossible to control the bacchanalia that takes place there. But if he suffers from delirium or worse, interferes with them, then she promises that he may not wake up the next day. Smiling slyly, the woman winked at Benga and walked away. Such a warning struck the man like lightning and made him sweat. Beng's henchman asked the guest to go to the exit and politely escorted Liu Zhouqing and Zhao Yi to the door. Some time later, Bang came to his senses and called to him his assistant with lush hair under his nose. He whispered something in the man's ear, to which the man agreed and promised his boss that he would take care of everything. Liu Zhouqing led Zhao Yi to her room. Sitting down in the living room, she noted that everything is as usual. He gets into trouble, and she has to get him out of it. But at the same time, the guy is still lucky. While munching on the candies on the table, Zhao Yi remarked that the guild looked very beautiful from the 7th floor. Miss Liu was surprised to ask if the boy was also a connoisseur of high art. Zhao Yi, sprawled on the sofa, asked Miss Liu with a smile to answer the question, did she save him because she wanted him to help her in something? In response, the woman asked, what if she did it just like that? The guy said it was possible, but he didn't like to be the one to blame. Moreover, a woman like her must be bound in vices, otherwise other villains would not be afraid of her. Liu Zhouqing laughed. She said that the boy was very interesting and offered him to guess why exactly she decided to save him. Zhao Yi carefully looked at Miss Liu. He was silent for a long time. The woman got bored and poured herself a glass of wine. She said that the boy looked a lot like one of her old acquaintances, but Zhao Wei interrupted Liu Zhouqing and asked if she was talking about her ex. Miss Liu confirmed his guess as she sipped her wine. She added that she still has an unresolved conflict with her ex. Zhao Yi asked, then why didn't she discuss it with him face to face? Liu Zhouqing explained that the problem was that her ex was dead. The guy said that if she was wondering who killed him, then... The woman interrupted him and replied that she killed the ex. Zhao Yi became interested. He asked why she did it, to which Miss Liu also asked, what does he have to do with it? The guy apologized and explained that such curiosity was due to his profession. The woman smiled and said that the former was the angel of oblivion, contacted thousands of the most terrible and dangerous patients, and all this during the terrible epidemic of madness. He successfully treated psychological injuries so that in the future those deformities would become normal. But if he did not try, he could not cure her. Zhao Yi asked Liu Zhouqing to be clear that there was no medicine for her illness. The woman said that maybe he should first ask what is wrong with her. The guy explained that there are many complex and incomprehensible diseases in psychology, but the most difficult thing is to treat patients like her. At first glance, she does not have any diseases. As a result, her healthy illness is much more difficult to treat than the same paranoia or schizophrenia. Liu Zhouqing sat straight on the couch, looked into Zhao Yi's eyes, and asked in a very gentle voice if Dr. Zhao could cure her. The guy replied that it would take time. Miss Liu said that he could not worry about it. If he can heal her, she will give him something. Zhao Yi pondered. He thought that although he was not entirely sure that this disease was curable, it would be incredibly rude of him to refuse such a patient. Getting up from his seat, the boy said that he would cure her. Miss Liu smiled and replied that she was counting on him. She added that besides, after today's incident, Xiang Beng wouldn't dare directly bother the boy in the big world, but he would have to deal with the dangers in the dungeons on his own. Zhao Yi headed for the exit and announced that he was leaving. Liu Zhouqing calmly sipped wine and said that she had no intention of seeing him off, so she wished him a good day. Descending the stairs from the 7th floor, Zhao Yi met Tian on the way. Tian, nice. The girl lit up with happiness when she saw Zhao Yi. She said that she was very happy and asked if those boys had not done anything to him, because she already wanted to. But Zhao Yi stopped her and asked her back what she was even doing here. Tian, showing the boy her teddy bear, explained that Nini had told her that he was in danger, so they wanted to look for him. Zhao Yi smiled slyly as he looked at the bear, and then, patting Tian on his head, thanked them for their concern. The girl said that she was welcome and that Nini was very happy to see him. The girl noticed that it was already very late. She informed that Fan Pai was supposed to prepare some food for them. Tian invited Zhao Yi to go to their room and have dinner together. Zhao Yi happily agreed, and they continued up the stairs to the room where Fan Pai lived. Fan Pai did prepare a small dinner, which Bai Shui also joined. Treating Zhao Yi with soda, Fan Pai asked the boy if Xiang Beng had done something bad to him. The guy replied that everything was fine and asked if they were going to Sister Liu's apartment. Fan Pai replied that he saw how the gang caught him, but he could not even think that the boy would be able to get out. He sighed heavily and told Zhao Yi that he didn't have enough powers to help. That is why I had to turn to the higher members of the guild. On the 7th floor live only Sister Liu and another rather old man who can no longer even knock on the door. Fortunately, Sister Liu still believes in Zhao Yi, otherwise the boy would be in trouble. Zhao Yi thanked him for this. He then asked those present if there was any news of the Great World Mission that had recently opened. Bai Shui reported that only 6 groups went there. As a result, they all died. A total of 36 lunatics died. Fan Pai added that the bodies of the dead were simply thrown away to rot at the station. That the condition of the bodies was terrible. They had almost no human appearance. It seemed that they came through a real hell. But the most disturbing thing was that there were no letters at all from any of the now deceased players. Therefore, no one knows exactly what this dungeon looks like. Placing the empty soda glass on the table, Zhao Yi asked if they were coming with him. If not, he will go on his own. Fan Pai and Bai Shui pondered. Fan Pai honestly admitted that he would also like to be as brave as him, that this quality is very important in their rank, but the death rate in this mission is very high. Therefore, he cannot simply take and lose. Bai Shui, contemplating the upcoming campaign, said that she also did not want to die so easily. Zhao Yi then asked Tian, who ate her dinner with appetite, will she go on a mission with him? The girl did not hesitate for a moment and shouted that she would go. Tian's resolute response, Tian. She thought about the fact that this girl was still so young and still dared, but here she was. Suddenly, Bai Shui rose to her feet and said loudly that she had changed her mind and that she would also go with them. Taking a glass of juice, Fan Pai concluded that now that all decisions have been made, they can drink. Raising their glasses, they announced a toast with wishes for a successful mission. After a while, Zhao Yi, Bai Shui, and Tian They were already standing on platform number 3 of the railway station. Halfway along their path, they saw one of the mutilated corpses rotting on either side of the platform. Bai Shui did not like such a sight. Next, a system message appeared, welcoming them to platform number 3 and informing them that 5 to 9 people are needed to participate in the Train of Image quest. The system asked them to form a team and wait. Bai Shui asked Zhao Yi that a minimum of 5 people are needed to complete this task, and there are 3 of them. What should they do? Zhao Yi replied that the entrance to the mission was in compartment number 1. Therefore, I asked them to go there first and inspect everything properly. There was indeed a crowd of people near the first carriage. They saw several men running from the platform and one man with a bloody stomach hanging from the platform. He shouted after them so that they would not run away. That they can't complete the task just because they killed a lot of people, and that they lose a whole 2 talent points. Here, Zhao Yi and the company noticed 2 people. A man with very narrow eyes, a bald head and 2 large rabbit-like teeth, and a woman with short hair and a very haughty appearance. A man with narrow eyes greeted Zhao Yi and asked if he had also come on a mission. He offered to join them, promising that he would help them. The woman, with a haughty look, only muttered that the man was a sycophant. Zhao Yi accepted the offer and asked if any of the man's friends had any idea what would happen on the mission. Then others came up. A boy with ducks, athletic physique, and a short old woman with a cane. The duck, the proud woman, and the old woman replied that they knew nothing about the mission. Taking a step forward, Zhao Yi stood in a circle with the other people on the platform. Thus, a team of 7 people was formed and the system began to teleport them to the dungeon. A system message appeared welcoming them to the grand world mission called the Grudge Train and wishing the players good luck. Opening his eyes, Zhao Yi saw that he was in a train car. Looking around, the boy realized that he was in carriage number 6. As he walked along the carriage, he thought about the fact that they seemed to be scattered on different carriages on purpose. The boy decided to first examine carriage number 7 and then deal with the others. Zhao Yi thought that since the purpose of this dungeon was to eliminate all resentments, he absolutely needed to know what had happened here. Suddenly, the boy heard someone's soft laughter. He smiled and remarked out loud that he probably just thought it was. Zhao Yi then turned his attention to the pencil case lying on one of the seats. Taking it in his hands, the boy carefully looked at it and noticed about himself that the creepy laughter became closer, but the pencil case did not attack him. And this meant that the penalty box is not dangerous. Therefore, it is better to leave him alone and move on. Zhao Yi also noted that this stationery case was completely made of metal, and it was very similar to the fact that someone pressed him. The boy did not think that the pencil case could be bent with his hands, that something really happened here, but it is not yet clear what exactly. Throwing the pencil case on the seat, the boy decided that to begin with, he needed to look for different clues. As he continued in the carriage, the eerie laughter got closer and closer to the boy. At the end of the carriage, Zhao Yi noticed a suitcase and a backpack in the corner. After carefully looking at the suitcase, the boy saw a system message. It warned that this suitcase was extremely dangerous, and a note that despite the curiosity, the boy should not open it. Zhao Yi then looked into the backpack. There he found children's books on mathematics and social studies. The guy thought that they would not be able to help him, so he just left them. Next, Zhao Yi looked carefully at the suitcase once more. Creepy laughter began to sound louder and louder. The boy reached for the suitcase. As Zhao Yi was about to pick the lock, he heard a voice behind him telling him to open the suitcase. Suddenly, the boy froze. The voice behind him was surprised and asked why he stopped and asked him to open the suitcase as soon as possible. Instead, Zhao Yi smiled as he rose to his feet, took one more look at the suitcase, turned and walked away. An unknown voice began to ask where the boy had gone and then ordered him to stop. That voice belonged to a ghost girl who was holding a creepy doll in her hands. This ghost was not happy. She said that she could not believe that this boy could resist such a great temptation. Suddenly, Zhao Yi turned around and walked over to the suitcase again. The ghost girl was pleased that the boy still gave in to his desire. When Zhao Yi sat down next to the suitcase, the girl, again from behind, began to tell him that he was a good man for changing his mind, and again persuaded him to open the suitcase.